All right. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, the Italian Stallion, here for another episode of Stallion Speaks. I know I've been on a little hiatus. I was out of town last weekend doing the thing in Nashville. Picked up a new name. I'm now known as the GOAT, not just the Italian Stallion, the Italian GOAT. And I want to give a shout out to my company for giving me that distinguishing honor. Only been there less than 300 days to be the GOAT of the company statewide, of all the branches, everything. And I've worked hard for that honor, had a lot of love and support, and couldn't thank each and every one of the people I work with for making me better and welcoming me to a true family. Wasted so many years at the other place I used to work at, and now I absolutely love where I work. And as you can see, I've arrived and got to stay there with the standard. But that being said, welcome to another episode. I'm back. Lots to talk about, baby. Can you feel it? It is March the 1st. It's March Madness, baby. I know that we like football, but how about them Canes, baby? I couldn't be more proud of what I told you, what Jay Lucas is doing. That's why this episode is called Not Surprised, man. I'm not surprised because I knew what Miami was doing when they reached out. And we're already, I guess, probably talking behind the scenes, maybe in January, if not before. And then they made it public right before the end of the regular season that he would finish up his duties with Duke for the regular season. And then he had to get down to Miami. He had to get a team together, the transfer portal, everything that was going on at that time. And lo and behold, I mean, look what happened. And he had to get down there, and Duke finished what they had to do. Miami, he got the pieces in place of what he could do. Even took a Duke recruit in Shelton Henderson. And look what Miami's done, baby. I mean, we'll talk about it here in a second. But first and foremost, I want to thank everybody that has subscribed. 194 subscribers, over 20,000 views. Keep punching that like button and sharing our cause so we can gain others to join it. Also, the views and opinions of this program are not affiliated with those of any other organization. These are solely the Italian Stallions views, as well as my guest co-hosts and audience members. And remember, I will be putting that link up here shortly to give you 5 minutes to speak your piece. Also, click on the chat box. Let me know what you all want to talk about. We got a lot to get to, but first and foremost, if you didn't catch it on the Rebels with a Cause show that aired Wednesday night, unfortunately, I received some really sad news Thursday night. A good former colleague of mine, and I wish I could have called him a dear friend, but he was somebody that I respected. He worked hard. And, the truth of the matter is that we lost somebody, Wes Rucker, who was a longtime cover of the University of Tennessee in all their sports, was a diehard Vol fan, basically was just worked hard. He knew his stuff. And unfortunately, he was killed in a very bad car accident Thursday afternoon last week. And that would have been on I believe that would have been the 19th. And literally was tweeting out about the women's team winning the gold medal in hockey. And lo and behold, lost his life in a car accident. And I was already en route to my destination when I was going out of town. And unfortunately, I got the news that he had passed away. And I had also heard that there was a very bad car accident on the interstate that had backed up traffic. And lo and behold, I would have never put two and two together. But very, very sad. Left behind a wife who is about to give birth to their second child, lost, a 4-year-old son, now does not have a father. And just very proud of everybody that raised money for the GoFundMe. But we lost a good one in Wes Rucker, one of the hardest working guys, knew his stuff, loved his Vols, and everybody that knew him, whether they were a rival school or anybody, knew that this guy was one of the first ones there at the media days and the last ones to leave. And just the stories and just what type of a man he was. What a loss to the journalism and broadcasting community. And I just continue to pray for his wife and those kids and his family and all the dear friends that are mourning him. And I believe the funeral was a couple of days ago, but may he rest in peace. And I salute you, Wes Rucker. honestly, and everything you contributed to the business and as a Vol fan for life, honestly. That being said, and don't forget to hit that smash button and share us tonight. But we're going to talk some hoops. We're going to talk some baseball. Canes took one on the chin this weekend. Didn't even get to win one with the damn game getting rained out today, which sucked against those Gators. Maybe we'll solve that conundrum once in a while, but it wasn't this year, unfortunately. Had electric fans in the stands there at the light. Friday and Saturday, they're ahead of us right now, and hopefully Miami can close in that gap. Maybe get a chance at them in the regionals or super regionals. Hell, maybe even Omaha. But they really gave it to us on the chin, and it just shows what Miami baseball still has to do. But that being said, I do want to get to my rant. It's now March Madness, and more than anything, this is the time of year where college basketball is really highlighted. And I know that we all love Miami Hurricanes football, but one thing that you need to do is, if you haven't watched them already and you do like Miami, give this Hurricanes basketball team a chance. What Jay Lucas has done there, he's going to be the ACC Coach of the Year, okay? And the fact of the matter is they put belts to asses to Boston College yesterday, left it, no doubt, started off slow. But the thing is, they were getting contributions from guys that have normally not been contributing. They've been playing, but the fact is they've really had 5, 6 guys, but now they have a 7th guy, and he really contributed, making 3-pointers off the bench. Washington had a really good game yesterday. True Washington. Trey Donaldson did well. Quiet games from Renault and Shelton Henderson, who have been the backbone of this team. But to get contributions from Uday, who honestly has been a great center where he's played at Kansas. And so forth. When we got him, I knew that at least we'd have somebody in the middle, and you need to have height. You need to have somebody that's a shot blocker as well as a rebounder. And the fact that he's even contributing and took advantage of the size differential against a pathetic Boston College team, that just says a lot. But more than anything, I want everybody to pay attention to this team, because they may not win it all, but they are going to make you pack a lunch, and they're going to give it everything that they got. I'm so inspired by them that I will be in Charlotte for my birthday on the 13th to hopefully see them play either Duke or North Carolina or somebody of that nature on that Friday. Hopefully they get by their Thursday game, but they are in line right now for a double bye, and I couldn't be more proud of them, and we'll talk about them here more shortly. But as far as my rant goes, I'm absolutely just flabbergasted with how much attention has been given to this Darren Peterson situation with Kansas. Okay, first and foremost, the fact that this kid's even playing college basketball is amazing, because he's had a bad injury with a hamstring, and we've not even gotten to scratch the surface of how special of a kid this guy is. Some NBA team is going to very well benefit from having this guy, but this guy has been questioned about whether he's a teammate, whether he's doing this or that. And the truth of the matter is, he could have told everybody to go kick fucking rocks, to be absolutely honest with you, and just say, I'm going to get ready for the draft. I know I'm going to be one of the 3 picks, no matter who wins that lottery. I mean, it's been debatable, either him or DeBonsa. I think people are overlooking Cam Boozer. Whether you love or hate Duke, this kid is special. And I remember seeing him down at Columbus, hoping Miami would get him. And the facts of the matter is, it was between Miami and Duke. And I would even almost venture to say, yes, he went to Duke because of his father and so forth. But I think if Jay Lucas would have been having a chance to get him in the room, given him a pretty good NIL deal, I think it would have been nice to secure the Twins to go with Henderson or anybody else. And this team would have been really special. It's just the timing. But the fact is with a guy like Jay Lucas, I think that you are going to keep that talent down there in Miami, regardless of legacy or where they played. We missed out on Vernon Carey, who went to Duke as well. But that being said, I'm just really sick and tired of it. And the fact is that Kansas has been a team that, they won the national title 3 years ago. And realistically, they've been a number 1 team preseason, all that stuff. And realistically, there's been talks, is it done for Bill Self? The fact is, guys, the Big 12 is a loaded conference this year. Look at Arizona with Koa Pete and those guys. They've got Awaka. They've got that Barrios kid, I mean, Del Orso, I mean, they are loaded. And if Arizona is not in the Final Four in Indianapolis, color me shocked. I mean, that's why they call it March Madness. But right now, there's four teams that I'm looking at that look like they're heads and above better than everybody. They all bring something to the table. Michigan, Zona, Duke, and now I even dare say it. I hate to say it. The Gators are in line now for back to back. And it was not looking good at the beginning of the year because they lose that back court. Now it's their front court driving it. They got size. And to win this tournament, you got to have size. And if the guard plays finally caught up and they're getting contributions from their shooters and shooting the way they were yesterday, look out because they are going to be a very tough draw, whether they get a 1 seed or a 2 seed. I would not want to be in their region. But that being said, I'm looking at these teams, and it's March Madness for a reason. Anybody can win this tournament, but it's all about the matchups. It's what about if injuries happen? Look at what's happened in North Carolina. They've been winning, but they're without Caleb Wilson. Tennessee should have beaten Alabama yesterday, and they lose Nate Ament in that game. Look what happened there. Arizona loses a couple with Koa Pete getting hurt. The fact of the matter is injuries are going to happen. These young freshmen have been phenomenal this year. And if you haven't known their names, get to know them now. And I know some people only pay attention to it now, but at least we got the Canes in there to pay attention to, and especially that ACC tournament. I hope that they take care of business against SMU on the road and beat a very vulnerable Louisville team. That would really help the resume. But I'm just so proud of it, and I hope that everybody tunes into this March Madness and really enjoys it because I really think it's going to be another phenomenal tournament. If you thought last year's was good, I think this year's is going to be even better. The other thing I also wanted to bring up is what some of these referees are calling in some of these games. Look, I know that certain players get the benefits of things, but the one thing that absolutely just pisses me off when you don't call a game consistently, for fuck's sake, it can't be that one team doesn't have as many fouls. You got to call it one way. Are you going to call touch fouls? Are you going to let them physically play? These referees are there just to manage the game. And I would hope that when you're assigned a game that you at least do some research of what the teams are going to bring to the table. And again, we've talked about this with football, the atrocious officiating in all levels, whether it's high school, college, or pro. Not so much in the high school, but with college and pro being such a big thing with Vegas and so forth, why is it that we can just take out that element of it? Great. The thing is we should pay these guys where that they don't have an interest in this. I know it's easier said than done, but we know that there's been things that are fixed. We've seen players that have just been called out for what's been going on. And the truth of the matter is that it's a shame. It happens. We can't bury our heads in the sand. But what we can do is maybe make sure that we can at least regulate it to it's not such a big factor, especially when so much money is on the line and Vegas is paying out. Let these guys settle it on the field or the court or whatever battlefield they play these modern day gladiator games. The coaches to go against each other. That's what I want to see more than anything. And I'm just absolutely just looking at some teams that get the benefits because they're known as a physical team, and this team is more of a finesse team. But at the same time, when the styles clash, pay attention and do the research. And I'm not seeing it. And I hope that doesn't deter from things getting in the way. The refs need to just do their job, call the game the way it's meant. If it's ticky-tack, whatever. But when the game is on the line with a few minutes to go, seconds rather, do not blow that whistle unless it's absolutely like needing to be called. Because we could really it can determine the outcome of a lot of games, whether there's money on it or not. So that's the other thing that I wanted to bring up. And last but not least, in terms of movies, because I also am a big movie junkie, I went and saw Scream 7 on Thursday night. Big Scream fan. And real quick, I know that some people either loved it or hated it. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 33% score. My question is this: what the hell did you expect to go see? It's called Scream. It's a slasher movie, okay? It's not going to be an Academy Award-winning performance. We want to see the legacy characters. We want to see these actors while we still have them, or actresses. And I just went there and I went and got entertained. That's the only thing that I say more than anything. I don't know what people were expecting, but I was entertained. It's going to be a Scream 8. It just made $97 million in the first weekend. It might drop off significantly with some other horror movies and stuff coming, but they've already made their money back, and they're already going to start filming 8, from what I understand, in the fall. Hopefully 8 comes with it. And to be honest with you guys, again, I think that it was just the start of a true trilogy that you're going to enjoy to complete the saga of 9 movies. I think you're going to get an 8 that's going to set up a 9, and 9 might be the end to finish it. I have a theory. I don't want to ruin it, but at the same time, for all those people, I think that there were some things that were made there that were just to finish this chapter to go to the next. But that being said, I enjoyed it. If you didn't like it, that's the breaks. Welcome to Hollywood nowadays, where some things are shit, some things are not, and wait for a streaming service if you don't really want to go see it. But that being said, I was entertained. So, without further ado, let's talk about them Miami Canes, baby. Again, I'm going to put up the show link for those that want to come on and talk about it and so forth. More than anything, guys, the one thing that I wanted to say is that I was just so impressed with how they looked. I mean, again, Boston College is not anything to write home about. Please don't get me wrong when I say anything, but at the same time, they took care of teams that they needed to. They took care of Florida State. They took care of, they should have beaten Virginia last week. They blew an 11-point lead. Virginia's a pretty good team. Of course, Duke made them look shitty yesterday. But what I'm getting at is they just don't quite have the depth yet. And also, getting that win before then. Against Notre Dame, that was huge too. So they're taking care of the wins that they needed to, beating NC State, beating North Carolina. Again, if they can take care of SMU on the road and they can take care of Louisville at home on Senior Day this Saturday coming up, then they're in line for that double bye. And right now, Duke has clinched the 1 seed. Virginia's pretty much going to get the 2. And right now, it's a 3-way battle between Miami, North Carolina, and Clemson. And for a double bye. Now the thing is, Miami lost to Clemson when they played earlier in the year. Clemson and North Carolina play on Tuesday. The winner of that game will probably get that 4 seed. And who's to know that North Carolina might even jump up to a 3 if they can beat Duke again on next Saturday. I don't think it's going to happen in Cameron, but it's a rivalry, and they've already beaten them before. But the way Duke is playing right now, I don't really see them losing in Cameron Indoor Stadium, especially with what they did yesterday to Virginia. It was absolutely belts to asses. But that being said, talking about the Canes right now are in line for a 3 seed because of the 3-way tie. They have beaten North Carolina. So if you want that seed, Miami wants North Carolina to beat Clemson on Tuesday. And then, if anything, we need to take care of business. Make sure Duke beats North Carolina, and then we can secure that 3 seed, and we don't even have to worry about playing Duke until the championship. We would be matched up with our bracket and going up against Virginia with a second chance at beating them. We almost should have already beat them in Virginia, but I like our chances in a neutral territory in Charlotte. Also, give Jay Lucas a chance to redeem himself because he's done an absolutely phenomenal job. So that being said, though, look at this. We're in line for a double bye for the ACC tournament. Guys, last year, this fucking team didn't even make the ACC tournament. The rules state that it's an 18-league conference. The bottom 3 don't even make the ACC tournament. And Miami was so bad, we finished dead last and didn't make the tournament. What's even funnier, if you can even say it, we were so bad that they didn't even have to let us play Duke this year because based on how the standings were, you didn't play the team just to make it more competitive. They gave Miami a little bit more of a favorable schedule, but still, you still got to play the games. This is a team, a whole new roster from whatever was from last year. There was nobody left from last year's roster. Jay Lucas had to build it from scratch, and look what he's done for our Canes. I mean, it's unbelievable. They're fun to watch. They've been competitive in every game. They gave BYU a game at the beginning of the year. They matched wits with Florida. They have played some big games. And realistically, to be right there and almost finish third, if they can hold business these next 2 games, what a phenomenal turnaround. And I don't see how Jay Lucas doesn't win ACC Coach of the Year. I know that some people are looking at the guy at Virginia, Odom, done a fabulous job. But let's be real, guys. Tony Bennett and Virginia have won a national title. Yes, Miami was in the Final Four a few years ago. But realistically, Virginia didn't have that much to really change. Their coach quit and before the year. He didn't want to do it anymore. And his game was passed him by. His offenses were boring and slow. He prided himself on defense. It was a bad brand of basketball. And from the days of when they had guys like Junior Burrow and Ralph Sampson and their history, the thing that I can't understand more than anything is that they finally went in a direction where they're exciting and fun to watch, and they play defense and they play offense. And realistically, hats off to Odom. He's part of that coaching tree. Like Lucas, his dad, NBA coach. Look at his pedigree. But literally, Virginia had some holdovers, some guys that were there. Miami took guys from other places. They took a Renault from Indiana. They took a Uday, who has been a journeyman through Kansas and Houston and so forth. Those Texas schools, Baylor. I mean, it's unbelievable to think of what we've done. Trey Donaldson, True Washington. He's taken these players, took Shelton Henderson from Duke, and now they are on the cusp. They're in the tournament. They're going to be an 8 or a 9 seed. And I'm hoping maybe they can jump up to a 7 if they can get to the championship game to play a Duke or a North Carolina, depending on how it shakes out. Either way, I wanted to be there to see it in person. And it's only 4 hours away. Charlotte's a fun town. I went to the ACC tournament last year thinking we would be there last year, but I had the tickets. I enjoyed myself anyway. Got to see the whole Cooper flag and all that stuff, even though we got hurt. It's a fun tournament to go to. Charlotte's a fun town. And I hope the Miami fans show up and root for the Canes. Honestly, it's going to be a great, great time. So, but that being said, I mean, people can even say about Shire with Duke. I think it's pretty impressive. You lost 5 guys, 2 of which, all to the NBA, 2 of which are going for Rookie of the Year right now, in Con Knipple and Cooper Flag. I don't think I've ever seen that from 2 teammates from a program. But he had to replace that. Yes, it helps. You got Cam Boozer. You had some guys come back from last year's team. But to mold that and be ACC back-to-back champs certainly should be a guy that's given a vote or 2. But what Jay Lucas has done from the bottom of this conference to a potential double bye, if you take care of business this week, And I just hope that the NIL money increases a little bit more. Maybe we can convince Shelton Henderson, don't go to the pros yet. Get some other transfers that aren't happy at other schools and they want to come down to Miami. Fun place. Good fun brand of basketball. You can get drafted. We've shown we can get to a Final Four before. What Jim Larinaga did for this program, second to none. What we could have had with Leonard Hamilton, had Jordan and the Wizards not come calling, the success Florida State had would have been in Miami. And I know that may not have been that big, but Leonard Hamilton had some really good Florida State teams, and he would have recruited like that at Miami. Big, pain in the ass, getting to Elite Eights, winning an ACC here and there. Grateful for Larinaga, but damn did we suffer during those Perry Clark and Frank Haith fucking years. Oh my God, were they horrible. Just pathetic. But thank God for Larinaga. And he was tired of it. Like all these old coaches, Krzyzewski, Boeheim, Roy Williams, they'd had enough. I'm surprised Izzo's still in it. But I say all that Miami right then and there has done what they've needed to be in the conversation. And I want to be a contender in all the sports. I do. And when you're a contender in all the sports, especially in a conference like the ACC, that we still have not gotten the respect for being there all these years, I would love nothing more than to flip off Dr. Jim Phillips there in Charlotte. I hope I see him. I hope I see him down there. I'd like to introduce myself to him and say, what a shitty commissioner you fucking are. And maybe he's handing the trophy to Miami this time. But knowing the ACC refs, they might screw us. So who knows? But hats off to what Jay Lucas and Miami have done, man. Couldn't be more happy about it. So again, here's the link if you want to talk about them Canes. If you want to talk college basketball, let's talk about it. Let me tell you this, guys. Yesterday was an absolute honor to watch basketball, literally from noon till midnight with that Gonzaga St. Mary's game. I mean, the matchups may not have lived up to the hype, but you saw which teams have really kind of separated themselves. I mean, it started Friday night on Fox. If you watched that Michigan and Illinois game, it was basically for the Big Ten. I heard these kids from Illinois camped out for 8 hours, and they got belts to asses. Now, Michigan didn't come out of it unscathed. Unfortunately, they lost one of their point guards, LJ Kaysen, to a torn ACL. Hate it for him. Hate it for Texas Tech that they lost JT Toppin. They're still playing tough, though. But without Toppin, they lost a step. And the thing is that Michigan still, with the loss of Kaysen, still put belts to asses, won by 18. And everybody's thinking to myself, even though they lost to Duke, that's still the favorite right there. Well, then let's fast forward to noon yesterday. Duke and Virginia, 1 versus 11. It was basically for the ACC #1 seed. What does Duke do? Puts belts to asses to vagina. And I've never seen somebody get run off the court so quick. I mean, I look up, it's 28-12. They're knocking down threes. Boozer's not even making his layups or whatever around the rim. He's making it from the free throw line. And Virginia was out of the game in 60 seconds, it felt like. They were just done. They were done. So then everybody's saying, oh, no, Duke is the best. Duke's the best. For Michigan was nice last night. No, Duke, look what Duke did. Then Arizona says, here, hold my beer. We just got Koa Pete back. And they take belts to asses to Kansas. Kansas made it close there. And then it just showed how thorough and deep and efficient Tommy Lloyd and Arizona are. I mean, they are dangerous guys. And they've got size. They got great guard play. They shoot the ball well. They're going to be an unbelievable out. And I think they're even better, obviously, than what you've seen the last couple of years when it was the Caleb show. But it's not the Caleb Love show anymore. But that being said, then Florida says, wait a minute, we're still the defending national champions. And they gave John Calipari in Arkansas an ass-kicking that I've not seen him ever get. I think I haven't seen them get beat. And I'd have to look at the score. But I remember when Zion Williamson and that Duke team announced themselves and played Kentucky and beat the shit out of them. I haven't seen one of his teams get dominated like that until last night. Florida was just amazing. And I'm no Gator fan, please. But I will give credit where credit is due. And that Todd Golden, he's a bad man. That is a hell of a coach. To lose Walter Clayton and that entire backcourt, to bring back the front court, they have size. They've brought in some transfers and Boogie Fland and the Lee kid from Harvard. This Isaiah Brown kid can shoot the lights out. That's a sophomore coming off the bench. They have a foreign kid that shoots the ball well. And they just put belts to asses. I think 7 guys, if not 6, were all in double figures last night. And Arkansas wasn't even in the game, man. I mean, they were just completely just out of their whack. And the crowd was electric. Game day was there. It's a tough place to play there in Florida and Gainesville, for basketball especially. They have history. And, they went back-to-back with the Joakim Noah. Why can't they do it this time? So, again, it's going to depend on the draw. I don't really see them losing. They've already clinched the 1 seed in the SEC. They're back to, and the truth of the matter is that they're going to kill Mississippi State. Kentucky might be tough. Kentucky played very, very well yesterday at home, and maybe they're better at home than on the road. But I'm just saying that realistically, it's looking like this is going to be, why wouldn't the Gators get a 1 seed? If they have won the SEC and they continue this winning streak and go through that tournament in Nashville, why not give them that last 1 seed? I think they're more deserving than Connecticut. Yes, Connecticut beat them head-to-head, but if those 2 teams were to play now, I think Florida wins that game by 7 points. Connecticut has been struggling in the Big East. They've been playing to the level of their competition. They're a great team. Dan Hurley can coach. Caravan, nice player. Got some other pieces, but they are not what they were, that team from 2 years ago when it was the Connecticut Invitational Tournament. They're not the team that was that stole it all, honestly, the year that we went to the Final Four. But I'm just saying that they're going to be a good team in March. But for that last 1 seed, if I'm looking at the eye test and who Florida's played, I'm sorry, I've got to give it to the Gators. They've beaten ranked opponents. They play in a tougher conference. They lost to Duke by 1 point, and that was before they even got really good. So I wonder how they would do against Duke the second time. How would they match up against Arizona and Michigan? The front court makes them elite. And if they get contributions from these shooters, if Lee's on and Brown, and then if you get anything from Boogie Fland, holy shit, are they going to be a tough team to beat? And how is that whistle going to be allowed? Is their physical play going to be allowed? So, again, Florida basically said, we can still go back-to-back. Did you forget about us? But there are so many good teams in this tournament. There really are. But it's all going to be about the matchups. And I really don't see many Cinderellas stepping up. Sure, Miami of Ohio is a nice little story, going hopefully undefeated and they can get in with the MAC. I hear Bruce Pearl making fun of them. I'm like, no, you need to shut the fuck up. I mean, wait, Auburn, that doesn't need to be in there. That's all I'm going to say. You know, any team that goes undefeated, they deserve a shot. They may not do anything with it, but they deserve to get in that tournament. So I don't know what Bruce Pearl's problem is. That guy, realistically, I think he just opens his mouth to say things just to just generate something. But no, what the embarrassment is what you did to Auburn, and you thinking your son could actually coach that. I mean, look at Houston and all they had to replace. Yes, it helps that you had Kingston Flemings come in, but they're in the conversation. Look at Duke. Yes, Cam Boozer helps it, and they had some guys come back, but they have shown that they're there. I've already mentioned Florida. Those three teams have a chance to get back to Indianapolis. Auburn, not even anywhere fucking close. Nowhere. And again, if he was coaching, would it be different? Maybe you keep some guys. You lost Johnny Broom and all them guys from last year. But realistically, you're not even in the conversation. But Miami of Ohio, nice story. St. Louis, very nice story. Those teams, when they get matched up with these big dogs, they might make it interesting. No way. But I'll tell you teams that would have made it interesting, like a Texas Tech if JT Toppin hadn't gotten hurt. Illinois, despite what happened with Michigan, they're still going to be a team that's going to score. Gonzaga, what are you going to get from your players? Lost to St. Mary's last night. It's a rivalry game. But at the same time, Gonzaga's Gonzaga. Michigan State, Izzo can coach in March. Purdue, what are you going to get with them? The pain in the ass that doesn't go away. But they looked bad against Ohio State, who desperately needed a win today. But you can bet your ass Purdue will be in the conversation somewhere or another. Painter will have those guys ready. Braden Smith and all that. So, again, the darlings are going to be there. Kansas, Bill Self, I've already mentioned them. BYU, maybe lost a step with DeBonsa. Houston, Iowa State. I've already mentioned Houston, Iowa State. Good team. Lost a tough one yesterday. But at the same time, these are all going to be teams that are going to be the names to pay attention to on Selection Sunday, 2 weeks from today. And I will be glad to come on after the bracket's announced, and we can talk about it already. And we're going to be so excited making those picks. Those first 4 games on Tuesday that get the matchup set for Thursday. Same for Wednesday for the Friday. And then Thursday at noon, baby, it's time. It's ready to go. So we are 2 weeks away from Selection Sunday. And Miami's going to be there. That's what makes it even more special. Maybe a 7 seed. Definitely going to be an 8 or a 9. And I'll tell you this, it won't be against Duke. They won't match us up against them. But maybe we get lucky and get another shot at Florida. Maybe we can do something there. Or Connecticut again. Or, maybe Michigan. Michigan's lost their point guard. So that's going to be tough to overcome for them. They still got Cadeau. But realistically, Kaysen was another change of pace point guard for him. Torn ACL. That might change some things for them. They're still going to be heavy in the front court. Their back court. And remember, back courts mean a lot in March. It's just how it is. So, but, will these be the 1 seeds? Probably. I think Florida and UConn are interchangeable. And if that happens, are you going to put them both in the South region down in Houston, which moves Houston to the East and probably with a matchup against Duke in a rematch? How about that? A rematch of them in the Elite 8. They've already played the last 2 tournaments. Duke got the better of Houston when they were the favorite 2 years ago. And then Houston got the better of Duke last year when Duke was the favorite. So why not have a third match? Technically, it would be the 4th if you count the matchup they had behind the scenes in that closed scrimmage in John Shire's first year, because him and Kelvin Sampson respect each other. So they're very familiar with one another. That could be an electric matchup. Purdue's probably going to be matched up with Arizona out west. They can't match them up with Michigan. And then Iowa State probably gets that other seed, that 2 seed in Chicago to take on Michigan. What a battle that would be. The Big 12 has a potential to get 3 teams right there in those 2 lines. You put Kansas in the mix, they're going to get a 3 seed. So I'm just saying that it's going to be an electric tournament, but it's all going to depend on the matchups, where they're going to be put geographically. And again, I'm just happy that Miami's in the conversation. And you give Jay Lucas that NIL money, you give Jay Lucas the time to get his guys in there and developed, and you take a few transfers while still getting your guys in there and the way he can recruit, his defense, his staff, get that NIL money, man, you'll be a 4 seed in no time, or even a 3 seed. You'll definitely be there contending with Duke. Anybody can move up in this conference. And Duke is on a different level in the ACC right now, but they're that far ahead. John Shire's done a phenomenal job. I respect people and programs that know what to do. And he got with the times. He got somebody that was a director, that Rachel woman. They got NIL money. They knew what they were doing, and they were that ahead of the game. I'm looking at North Carolina. North Carolina's behind. I mean, sure, they got the win, but realistically, North Carolina's got one good player coming in. They're probably going to lose Caleb to the draft, but they might get some transfers. But Duke has another number 1 recruiting class coming in. That's what I want Miami to get to, and I think Jay Lucas can do it because Jay is just as good of a recruiter as John Shire is. In fact, a lot of those guys that Duke did have was because of Jay Lucas. That's why Jay Lucas was able to get Shelton Henderson to us. He said, dude, you're going to be like the 9th or 10th option on Duke's team. You'll be the 2 option, if not the 1, here at Miami. And that's why I hope Henderson comes back. You pair him with what we've got coming in, get some transfers, we're back in it next year, baby. Telling you. So give these Canes a chance, man. They're fun to watch, honestly. SMU on the road on Wednesday, Saturday, final game in Miami against Louisville. And Louisville looks terrible right now. Reigning coach Kelsey, that little midget, telling you. So I'm just saying that love to beat Louisville in basketball after what they did to us in football. Would love to get that one back at them, at their bread and butter. Because don't kid yourselves, Louisville's a basketball school, okay? I mean, sure, they like football. It's basketball, all right? And realistically, they got that title taken away from them with all the stuff that was going on under Pitino and everything of that nature. I still consider them champs, but in the books, it's a vacant champ that year. So, again, they were the darlings last year. People have figured out their shit. They're just a 3 and they're a 3 team. I mean, they've got some great players, but they chuck the ball. That's all they do. They shoot threes and they shoot themselves out of a game if they're not falling. So Miami, Lucas will have a game plan ready to go, and I have no doubt if we can win these next 2, Miami solidifies themselves as that 3 seed. It'd be nice if Virginia could drop these next 2. They're not, but I'm just saying that as long as Miami can avoid that Duke game with that 4-5 matchup, get the 3 seed and take on Duke. If Duke and North Carolina, let them battle it out on Friday night. Play the winner of that on the 14th. Maybe they're so beat the hell out of and so emotionally spent from that game, you sneak up on them. And hey, Jay Lucas knows Shire stuff. He was on his staff. So they know each other. And I'm sure that Jay's very well with what Duke's got brought back, and he definitely knows Cam Boozer's game, especially with who he has on his staff. Used to coach Boozer at Columbus. So be an interesting fight, man. I just want to get there. Just got to take care of business. One game at a time. But to have this conversation, guys, last year, we were talking about who's going to be, we were excited this time last year. We found out he was going to be our coach. But I told people, I said, this guy is going to have us in the tournament in year 1. That's why I'm not surprised. I said it. I knew how good he was. I saw how Duke's defense flundered in that tournament without him game planning. Duke's got a great defense this year, but they had to hire a new coach that was in charge of that. But Jay Lucas, they lost something. Jay Lucas stays with Duke. I have no doubt that they cut down the nets. But he had to get down there because of the transfer portal. And so I'm just saying that this guy has done a miracle and is deserving to be the ACC Coach of the Year. But would love your thoughts. If anybody wants to come on, here's the link. And, we can talk about it. The other thing I wanted to bring up more than anything was the fact that, the combine was going on this week as well. How did our Canes do? The talk of it was how well our guys spoke at the podium. And, that's the one thing that I would love to say is that I don't think anybody did a disservice to themselves in terms of how they met and addressed the media, the conversations they were having with the teams that want them privately or work them out, or want to work them out. Came to see them specifically, know what they bring to the table. But I'm going to tell you a stat that was very interesting to me more than anything and shows the upswing of where we're at as a program. Of the 360 people that were invited to this combine, all the positions, SEC had the most with 150, 180 people there, almost half, if not half. The next biggest conference that had the representatives there after the SEC and the Big Ten was the ACC with 50. Of those 50, 10 of them came from Miami. That right there tells you that Miami's is getting back to what we expect it to be. We're not back, but where we expect it to be. And the fact is that, Beck made some throws. The deep ball's still not there. We've talked about that endlessly on this show, on other platforms, that he's still not back from that injury, but it's going to take a minute. But if he can get his deep ball back consistently, you know what you're going to get with him. I find it hilarious the Dolphins are the ones talking to him, but maybe they want him because he is a Miami kind of type, got that attitude. Maybe he can do good down there. I don't know. But the Tuiasosopo, or not Tuiasosopo, the Tua saga, come on. I mean, I don't know why you want to take a chance on that when there's other quarterbacks, honestly. But maybe next year has a better crop. But that being said, it's the Dolphins. So I'm not even going to spend any more time talking about them. Talking about Ruben Bain. The talk of it was, oh my God, how short his arms were. And the measurements came in. Look at him. But look at his play on the field. He was a complete animal. He changed things. People went away from him. Short arms or not, they looked pretty good dragging Julian Sayan's ass down. They looked pretty good stopping Ole Miss. They looked pretty good against A&M. I mean, and I can name countless other opponents. I mean, and they're worried about his damn arms. What about his motor? The kid even said in his interview, I eat, breathe, and sleep football. I don't have any other hobbies but this. It's a dangerous player when you have somebody that's all in like that. He drops to like a 19 because of these measurements. This is why certain teams continue to kick ass, even with those draft picks. Could you imagine the Eagles picking this guy up to add to their already vaunted, unbelievable defense? I mean, that's why some of these organizations are such shit. They're terrible. Their evaluations, they stick too much to the metrics. It's unbelievable. The analytics, look at the fucking eye test. Look at the film of this guy. Does he fit your scheme? Can he play? Does he step up in big time games? Worried about his damn arms. Jesus, at least he has two arms. We had a player that lost one in a car accident, if anybody forgot that. Poor Norton. But all I'm saying is that for the love of God, anybody that passes on this guy and you really need a stud defensive end, you're Tom Bradying yourselves at that position. You really are. Messidor looks like he's going to be in the first round now. I know that Keontae Scott didn't work out at the Combine, but he said that he's going to be working out on the 23rd down in Miami's Pro Day. The Cowboys met with him privately, so looks like the Cowboys have their eye on Keontae Scott. Cowboys would make their defense way better with Keontae Scott out there. It's a dog, honestly. Markel Bell ran some 5.3, 6.40. It's unbelievable for a 6'8", 345 guy to run. Honestly, 5.3, 6.40. So he's definitely going to get drafted. Mauanoa, they said that nobody has more power the way that he worked out. So he was going to be a solid top 3, top 5 pick. Just about who wants that solid right tackle. Just guy that, again, the buffoonery that we didn't run behind that guy in the national title game is beyond me. And we had to wait till the fucking third quarter. Just not understanding your personality. It makes me more sick, guys. It makes me more sick. The more conversations I have, and if we don't get back, damn, we had an opportunity. And then when you see how good Ohio State's guys are, Ohio State, I think, underestimated us. But didn't we underestimate them back in 2002? So we repaid the favor The problem was that wasn't the final game. You know, for them, it was the final game. They didn't have to go play, USC the next week or Iowa or somebody else who would have been around at that time, Georgia. It was us and them, final game. We still had 2 more to play. But my point is their fucking guys have showed out at this draft. I mean, they're going to have 5 guys in the first round. And sound familiar? We had 4 guys in that draft, one of which had his leg basically taken off in that Fiesta Bowl and still got picked in the 20s. Would have been top 2 if he doesn't get hurt. The season that Willis McGahee had back then. But I'm just saying that nothing against Indiana. And then I laugh at their fans. My God. I mean, their fans were so pathetic. Booing Carson back there. It's like, if anything, you should be heralding him with flowers. Wasn't he the reason why you all captured the national title at the end there with his interception? I don't know why you were booing him. I'd be standing up clapping if it had been the other way around, if Mendoza had thrown the game clinching pick for us. Shit, booing him. Why? Because he's banging porn stars and hot babes? And you're just country bumpkins up there in Indiana? Fuck yourselves, man. Got nothing for you. And then the other moron, Jeremiah Love, we're living rent-free in his head, talking about Miami being his biggest hurdle and all that. Best part about his pro day was the fact that the 40 that he ran was 7 more yards than what he got against our defense that entire day. Mic drop, motherfucker. So, I mean, again, I'm so glad we beat Notre Dame, and I hope that we give them another ass kicking on November 7th. Up there, under touchdown Jesus, piss on the Golden Dome, shit in the 50-yard line, and fuck their world up. That's what I want more than anything. The more I hear this kid talking, he's not even part of their team anymore. I want to just ram them in the face. I want to ram them in the face like Duke did on Monday in basketball, but in football. That's what I want to do. Leave no doubt. Pin their quarterback to the goalpost. But proud of our guys, and for the guys that didn't get to go, I hope that they show out, like a Keelan Marion, like Brockemeyer. I hope that at the pro day on the 23rd, they do great. Another thing, guys, next Monday, the 9th, spring practice starts for Miami. I'm excited, man. I know some guys are going to be participating, some guys still recovering from the off-season surgeries, but let's go. The workout, everything they've been doing. And if you hear some of our guys talk of where Miami's at right now and why Miami and where they've left it, I could hear it in their voice. They're sorry. Yes, some of them ran out of eligibility. Some went because the money's there. Some of them are even saying, God, I wish I had one more year, because they know what's going to be in that room, especially the way that Jacoby Thomas and Keontae were talking about the DB room in Miami now, even with the loss of the coach. But I'm just saying that they know they got some guys there that are not going to let it go back to what it was. And that just makes me so happy. Guys are working hard. They know what happened. So I'm all in Vegas still, guys. Not changing my tune at all. And then to hear Mario and Kirby, if you haven't seen that banter back and forth, giving it to each other. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I've heard low-key that when Mario's like that, he feels he's got a team. And it very well might be us in Georgia, provided their players can't keep getting speeding tickets. That's a whole other damn story right there. I thought that everybody was all in on it, the good old boys club. Why would you hurt the only thing going for you in Athens, Georgia? I mean, what the fuck? I figured y'all would look the other way. Kind of like in Varsity Blues where, you don't need a 6-pack of Coke, kid. By the way, rest in peace, James Vanderbeek. That broke my heart. We lost Mox. So, but anyway, that being said, I love that the banner that Mario's kind of talking. And what you need to do, though, is you need to take care of business every week. And don't get cocky. Make sure you're ready to take it out on all these teams. That is what I want more than anything. But it's good that Mario finally has, no pun intended, let his hair down. He needs to unleash this program. He needs to let these guys have a good time. Good, clean fun. Don't get in trouble. But be absolute animals for 60 minutes on that field, no matter where the fuck that game takes place. That's what you got to do more than anything. So, but hats off to the guys for doing their thing. And for those that are going to have a pro day, I wish them the best. And let's get some guys drafted and keep this thing going. That's the most important thing that I got out of that. Another thing I want to talk about real quick was Miami baseball. Started off 10-0, putting belts to asses to inferior teams. Been kind of playing a little bit with that midweek stuff with some of these teams that have beaten us in the past, but we found ways to win. I was looking forward to see, have we taken that next step as a program. Now, I'm not trying to take away from Artiega, and I've been one of his biggest critics, but I was hoping for a little bit better showing, especially with how the fans packed the light both nights, man. You had former players, former legends throwing out pitches. Mario even threw out the pitch yesterday, from what I understand. And the thing is that, we were in the games, but it showed that they were superior. Yes, they have a head start on us. They've been a program for a lot longer than we've been trying to figure it out. But I'm hoping that one day we can solve that Gators conundrum, because for a while there, man, they were our bitch in baseball. Jim Morris never lost to these clowns. I mean, it was FSU and Florida sucking our balls in baseball. And, we need to at least take care of Florida State, who looks like they've got a good team this year as well. And especially when we play them, and it's actually going to be later in the year and not so early in the year, which is nice. But realistically, if you're a fan of baseball like me, hopefully the Canes can rebound. The good news is that I hate that we didn't get to play today. I would have felt that it would have been nice if we at least would have gotten one. But in the books, it was canceled. It's not going to be made up. But we just need to learn from it, continue, and get ready for ACC play, because that's what it's all about there. And that's going to be a brutal damn conference again. When you look at the Georgia Techs and the North Carolinas, I've already mentioned Florida State, Virginia is going to be there. They have traditional, very good damn teams, and hopefully Miami can do their thing and keep doing it. And again, when you're going up against good pitchers, that hitting's not going to be there. You've got to counter it yourselves with pitching and good fielding, and that's what cost you in those games. So hopefully we've learned from it, and the bats don't go cold when you're going up against the best pitchers in the country for these programs, and you can counter and make sure their hitters aren't, knocking them out of the park and getting these runs on these small at bats and taking advantage of base running. So, but again, I'm not giving up on them, but again, I was hoping we could at least gotten one game out of it. Still could have, but at the end of the day, you didn't take care of business on Friday and Saturday with an electric crowd. So, finally, the Elimination Chamber was yesterday. What an absolute clown show. I'm sorry. If you don't like wrestling, I apologize, but I'm just saying right now, what ESPN paid for this is just unreal. And then you have Randy Orton win the Elimination Chamber. I guess it's coming up on his swan song. I mean, these guys are old. They've been around for forever. This 2000 class, it's 26 years later. Batista's an actor, retired. Cena's done. Lesnar left, came back, left, back, whatever. They can't do this forever. But the fact is you've not built any other big names. But I guess this is Randy Orton's swan song. AJ Styles, who was a big star in TNA, he's now, moving on to greener pastures. Had a nice retirement thing. But, and then Triple H, who I had one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Such a pussy now. I mean, so pussified, realistically. And I'm embarrassed for him. He didn't want to do the thing with the fans in the stands because he didn't want to get booed again. I thought this was a guy that didn't give a shit anymore. I guess Hunter's skin is not as thick as we thought it was. And maybe that is true of how he always felt really cold-shouldered compared to Austin and The Rock and all those stories from the past. And, some people even said, did he really marry Stephanie for love or just to kind of implement himself in there? She was a babe. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying that those stories, more and more as it comes out, I'm not denying he doesn't love his wife and his kids and everything like that. But at the end of the day, he's a business guy. And he's more than just the muscles. But at the same time, he doesn't have that thick of a skin. And he really, things get to him. And I get it. I'm emotional. Things have gotten to me. But you are the CEO of that company. You prided yourself that this is going to be your direction. You're not your father-in-law, blah, blah, blah. The fans are dissatisfied with the product. The product sucks. It's absolute dog shit. The best thing about that show last night was the nip slip from Raquel, honestly. And then they didn't even put the black screen up. So I guess they wanted to see her jugs. Great. Everybody's seen a nipple before. Whoopee. You know? I mean, come on. So I'm just saying, more than anything, that the product is garbage. They're priding themselves on CM Punk and Roman Reigns, and Reigns is finishing up. He's going to be an actor. You know? I mean, Rollins coming back. I mean, it's the same old, same old. You've got some young talent. You don't know how to push it. I mean, Jade Cargill against Ray Ripley. I've been saying that was going to be the match last year. I knew what they were going to do. They were building it. Liv Morgan, all that. I mean, Dom, they've done something good with that, but it's still a $5.99 product they're expecting you and me to pay $40 for. Fuck that. And they're selling out, putting the better pay-per-views overseas because they know those people and their oil money will pay for it. And not Nashville, that is like the heart of the South of wrestling. I mean, we were wanting that stadium there for WrestleMania 27. You went back on your word, Hunter. Honestly. I hope Vegas is good. And then the tickets for that? Horrible. Horrible. They want like $6,000 for, front row. And then they want, $600 in like the upper deck and you can't see shit. Are you kidding me? So, but it was a clown show. It was boring. And these are supposed to be your best pay-per-views of the year, that first quarter, especially with football not being in competition with you. This WrestleMania. But just terrible. And then he does the interview inside and not outside with the fans. Just pussy. Just an absolute pussy. Couldn't believe it. It's embarrassed for him. So, but again, they're not getting my money. This will be the first WrestleMania I miss. I'm not going to pay my hard-earned money for that. But what I will pay my hard-earned money is to go see the Canes in Charlotte, which is what everybody else should be doing. That's what they should be doing. Go see some good teams. Watch March Madness. That'll be worth your dime. Not that garbage. And honestly, solid basketball, despite the blowouts. Solid basketball on the networks. For ESPN, CBS even had a decent game. But rarity till March. But you get what I'm saying. But realistically, now my eyes are glued to how this last week, rivalry week, finishes up. And then we've got some of the conference tournaments already starting. The smaller ones, the women's tournaments. And then you're just going to go from there, honestly. And then the big boys get started. ACC on Tuesday. The Big Ten is going to start Wednesday through Sunday. They always finish it up. Big 12 and SEC are going to be littered in there as well. It's going to be phenomenal. Big East is thrown in there. All the tournaments. And then 2 weeks from now, we will have our field. We will have the tournament set. By now, we'll even have the game times. So that's going to be even special. So you can plan your day. What channels? The announcing teams. I think it's going to be special to know that Dick Vitale is going to get to call the first four with Charles Barkley. Some work deal that was worked out between TNT and ESPN. So that's going to be cool to see. So just going to be very interesting. Last and not least, my idiot of the week. There are so many that just do the buffoonery. They are just there's so many to name, but if I had to pick one more than anything, was Bruce Pearl and the comment he made about Miami of Ohio that if they lose a game and don't win the MAC, they don't deserve an at-large spot. And I'm thinking to myself, man, listen, if they go undefeated in the regular season and don't win the MAC tournament, I'm sorry. It's because your old team doesn't deserve to be in there with a 15-14 record. That's the truth of it, Bruce. I mean, how dare you make a comment like that? Anybody that goes undefeated like that, and, they deserve to be in there. They're not going to do nothing, but they at least deserve a shot as a 12 seed. Give them against a 5. Make them earn it. Put them in the damn play-in game on the first 4, honestly. But I think they're going to win their tournament and get in. But to make a statement like that, you came from a small school in Wisconsin, Milwaukee. How would you have felt, you asshole, if somebody had said that about you and your team? You know, if you had gone through that whatever division you got or conference that Wisconsin, Milwaukee played in, Green Bay, Wisconsin played in. I mean, are you kidding me? Fuck you. Fuck you. Honestly. I mean, I swear, that guy just opens his mouth, has that stupid look on his face. And, you know, I'm like, God, he's just so punchable. Honestly, he really is. He's such a blowhard. And anybody, if you really got to know the guy, he's such a dick. He really is. And he's won the amount of national championships that I've won as well, honestly. Except he coached and got the opportunity and choked his ass off with a super team last year. Lost any big game that truly, truly fucking mattered. Honestly. Joke. Fucking joke. And he's going to sit there and talk about Miami of Ohio. Anyway. Just an idiot. But that being said, guys, listen, it was a short show. I wanted to thank everyone that watched. Didn't get much from the chat box, but I know it's that slow time of year. But maybe next week we'll get more people chirping and ready to talk about the conference tournaments as we get finishing up the regular season. Going to have a short show next week probably as well. And might even go live from Charlotte for that ACC tournament there from my phone. I know I'm going to be really super excited. And just going to be enjoying the time there, and loving watching the Canes play and all the ACC teams while I'm there, and enjoy the festivities. And I'll give a full report, and then obviously do the show on the 15th, Selection Sunday, and talk about when our brackets are there, and kind of already take a peek of who's looking good and who isn't. And here's the thing: some guys might be coming back from injuries. More injuries might happen. I don't want that for anybody, but already. The loss of Toppin to Texas Tech hasn't shown yet, but can you imagine if they had Toppin? We're going to see what Michigan brings once they have to have Cadeau play point guard all by himself without Kaysen. Now you see Arizona with Koa Pete back. We're going to see what North Carolina, what version of Caleb Wilson comes back from the hand when he plays against Duke on Saturday. So pay attention to that stuff, honestly, because I certainly do. But again, thank you for all the support, as always. And again, if you haven't done so already, please smash that like button and share us, share our cause. And remember, the one thing that I want you all to know is that when you come on here, you are always feel free to speak your piece. And more than anything, I appreciate you guys. Love you all. As always, it's all about the you. Go Canes. And remember, more than anything, don't let anybody ever stop you guys from ever speaking your piece. This is the Italian Stallion signing off, baby. Have a great week. Enjoy the March Madness. It's here, baby. Go Canes.
I'm the stallion, speaking loud, no chains. From the heat of Miami where we play no games. Boxing gloves down, but my mouth still swings. Trash talk sharp like a scorpion stings. Stallion speaks. Yeah, the truth don't hide. Unfiltered raw. Your late night guy from the ring to the mic where the real collide. Stallion speaks on the untamed tide. Stallion speaks. On the untamed tide. Gloves off mic, feel the fire ignite when the stallion speaks.